Okay, I'm gonna call it because John's on the East Coast and
Yeah.
102 call to order. Any oral communications? Dave Cardinal, anything you want to say?
Not right now.
Okay, well, we'll look forward to it. Um, Approval of minutes from June 19th,
I
18th,
mo- I motion to approve the minutes from June 16th, right?
16th. I don't know my glasses. Second,
Second.
all in favor, aye.
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 Okay. New business. Do you want to? Oh, I've got the wrong meeting. I was looking at new business. Okay, no new business. Does anybody have any new business? Okay, let's move on to old business and let's talk about Zots to Dots.
Okay. It would be good to have David here because he may have some input on the race end. And John, do you want me to kind of recap and then you can add to it?
Yeah, that'd be great, especially because I got to read your last email. I assume
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. So
that'd be
the
great.
first thing
Yeah.
is, and I did actually, Patty and I have spoken um, since you and I met, but John and I are thinking that it makes sense to keep the registration fees at 25 for an individual, 40 for a couple, and 60 for a family up to five. You're thinking right now. I'm just watching your face. That's what we had said.
Are you talking about me looking
Yeah,
at? No, no,
yeah.
no, no. Sorry, no, no. I was
Okay.
reading your other email. So no, no,
Oh,
that's
okay.
correct. That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
And then we talked about bikes because we started the bikes, I think 5 to 10 minutes earlier. So there wasn't problem
Yep.
because there were, as we know, we had like 550 people there. And so we put the bikes in the front and we started them first. And so there weren't any real issues at the start. But apparently at the finish, there were still issues, particularly, I think, with maybe the 12 to 18-year-old riders that were flying by. And so one of the things, but we decided that we should still have bikes. And that one of the things that we need to do is figure out maybe a better management process at the end for the bikes. And John had a suggestion that maybe we do a different finish line for them that ends earlier so that there's more time for them to slow down. I don't know, Patty, what are your thoughts on that?
Um, yeah, it's unfortunate we don't have Dave. So the issue at the finish line is kind of twofold. It is the the ones that get out in front and want to win, and the fast ones and whatever. But it's also the families that they have the parents walking or running, and they have the kids on the bike, and at the end, we're trying to get all the bikes into one lane, and so people are crossing in front of each other, because again, we're trying to get the bikes all in one lane, because it's safer. And then we had the sheriff stand behind the finish line and basically tell the bikers that they had to stop and slow down because they were actually going so fast that they were going into Westridge at full speed. And we had a couple of near collisions. So moving the finish line, I think you'd almost have to move it like all the way up to the Windy Hill parking lot or something.
Oh, wow.
Well, I think that's okay. I was thinking it'd be at least a couple hundred yards. So however far that is, I think it because I don't think they care whether it's three, whatever it is, 3 miles versus 3.2 miles or whatever the distance is. So yeah, we give them tons of room. It just means we have to have yet another finish line. We have to make it look like a finish line because if it doesn't, then they're just going to keep going, right, to the big thing that says finish on it.
we'd have to have we'd have to have it labeled pretty well.
Yeah.
Like that big inflatable thing that we have, we could have one. Well, we only got one right now, but you'd almost have to have something like that with a big sign on top that says bikes, and then
Right.
Another one further down the road.
Right. I feel like it's worth it if we can do it to have something like that. I don't know if it has to be a big balloon-like thing like you have. It could just be a big banner, but it's got to be something that's really big and they just clearly and it stays there, after everybody's gone through it, right? So then it's not like you run through something and then it's just down, and so all they see is the other finish line.
Yeah, then we have to mark with pylons. We have lots of pylons all the way from that finish line to the other finish line, because we don't want bikers crossing into the other lane either once they're finished. Right. So I would put them on the lane closest to Windy Hill, so that if they wanted to ride like on the trail and stuff, they could, and keep the runners, walkers on the inside, I think. I don't have to think about it.
Okay. Well, that was, this is something that we need to figure out by race day. Right. So we talked.
Well, we don't need to finalize that tonight, but that's a good idea. Okay, keep going.
Okay. And then, well, John and I spent some time talking about awards, and I can share my screen with that. But before I did that, I thought maybe we should talk about, I went back through the list. We should talk about who is going to connect with BPTS and police and fire, and making sure that Woodside Patrol is not hired again, right? Because that was a problem too, where they, right, Patty? That we didn't ask for Woodside Patrol, but the town hired them.
I think that was done through the sheriff. So I will do that. I contact the committees anyway, because I always ask them if they want a booth at the picnic. So I've got on my to-do list to do that. I'll send a note to Ed for BPTS and just maybe tell him that I'm going to attend the next meeting, and we want to talk about the arrangements and bring up Woodside Patrol.
Okay. And then in terms of the communication, I mean, there's sort of out to the public, which is the forum and the school newsletter and flyers and all of that. And that we can kind of do the same that we did last year, and even go into the almanac. But then there's also the connection with the merchants about the road closure, right? Is we have to do the whole road closure thing, which we did. And I think John was just reading, I realized, I contacted Alpine Hills to give them a heads up, because there's somebody who might be scheduling events on that Saturday. So they should know that they probably shouldn't schedule an event that morning. So I just did that, but there's, all the other ones in Spring Down. I think Patty, you've done Spring Down in the past?
I've done Spring Down. I always do them early. So Spring Down is done.
Great. Okay. And the other ones, I just went around with a flyer, like a month before, and let people know and stuff like that, because there's nobody that's really having events per se.
Well, I think the other one that I get most concerned about is the sequoias. And I will send them a note.
What else I just thought of? So Willow Commons, remember, and then, oh my God, I'm having what do we do about people that are at Windy Hill, that are hiking Windy Hill? Have we ever thought about that? Like, do we need to let MidPen know, or because you could have people that get there for an 8 a.m. hike and they get back and they won't be able to get their car out.
I have never done anything with
Okay.
Windy Hill, and I've
Yeah.
never heard a peep out of a complaint. Now,
Okay.
that doesn't mean they haven't complained. It's just it hasn't made its way to me.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, and then the other thing, and I was hoping Cindy would be here because she's on the Friends of the Library, is to see if they are still handing out the ice cream.
Yes, I've confirmed that with her.
Okay. And if there's a way that we could make it closer to, say, the pickleball courts than the or the courts versus the library, right? Or we just really need to have signage and highlight
I've asked them before to move to the main lawn, and they have considered that and have said no. I mean, I'll ask them again, but we have gone down that road, and they want to be at the library.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And then what I thought I would do, I wrote this down somewhere, and of course now I can't find it. I believe we spent about, well, let me just check this because I have your sheet up. So for Zots to Tots, we spent about $6,100 and we had $8,100 in revenue. So just kind of using those numbers, and what John and I didn't discuss, and I'd love to brainstorm, is how many people we think we should expect this year. If we had 550 last year, is it reasonable to think we would have 600 to 650?
It has gone up every year for whatever reason. It's kind of shocking, really, if you think about it, because I mean, we've done it for 40 years, and it was just like 5 to 7 years ago, it just suddenly just went way up every year. 100 to 150 to 200 to 350, 4, 5, it just, I don't even know how we got 5 times as many people last year than we did, just like 7 or 8 years ago.
Should we think about capping it?
Well, we're going to make, okay, so the other thing is, Patty and I were talking about this, is we think because the registration was so kludgy last year, and it's going to be streamlined and much more simplified, and be able to sign up on race day, which was very hard, that all those things could increase the number, that we might have had more last year than actually signed up because things were sort of a pain in the butt for registration. I'm not going to get into it, but it was a 2-part registration. So I would feel bad capping it.
Yeah, I don't think there's a need to. I mean, boy, I think it's just great. It's wonderful, frankly, that we had that many people out there.
Fine. Keep going.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So that said, we just need to think about the quantities when we order things, and assume, though, that we'll be self-funding with the revenue we take in. Although we have to adhere. I think we'll talk more about this, about how we're best going to do the registration. I don't know, Patty, if you sent in you were going to check on a couple things, I think. Oh, see it. One about if we could even just maybe get the revenues posted to contribute, instead of going to the general fund, is going into the Parks and Lieu fund. So at least they're spent on Parks and Rec projects. And gosh, help me out. We also talked about
doing our own registration.
Right.
We have to go through so I haven't done anything because I think we said, let's talk about it tonight and make sure that the direction the committee wants to go in. So I don't know if it's something we have to take a vote on, but I can certainly send a note and ask those 2 questions.
Okay. Well, it would help. I think it could help staff out by not having them deal with the registration, so that's a benefit to it. And it would give us more control and have up-to-date numbers, because they also don't work on Fridays. So getting anything on Friday before the race is difficult.
So do you think I should send this to Tony or go straight to Darcy?
I'd go to Darcy, but she may delegate it to somebody.
She'll probably delegate it to Tony.
Yeah, but I would start with Darcy because she was involved in it last year. Oh, and we need a starter for so John, you weren't here last year, but we had Darcy, who was the brand new town manager, be the starter. And if we want to have some sort of celebrity starter again, I'm gonna leave that one to you.
Yeah, I can think of a few people we could, ask. But sure, I'll find a starter. Frankly, before that, we've done that a little bit before, and then I just kind of was doing it myself, just because it was so easy, frankly.
Yeah.
I'll ask around, maybe if we can find somebody that we think would be, fun and interesting. We'll do that.
Okay. All right, I'm going to share my screen now.
By the way, I had this other thought of the registration. If we were to do the registration on our own, we wouldn't have to close it. We wouldn't have to have same day registration, is the reality. We could just be like, while they're in line, we'd say, just register. Here you go. Pull out your phone and register yourself.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that we talked about, and then I'll go to the images, is we talked about that a way to be able to save money for the future is by not putting the year on things. And then if we have leftovers, because we want to order enough because we ran out last year, we're able to reuse them. So I'm just going to share sort of where we're at, and we can discuss it. Let's see what's going on now. Share.
Yep.
Okay. So John has been fiddling around with AI, and this is not the final product, but this is an idea, is to have the runners and bikers.
They look like aliens. They look like aliens from Disclosure Day.
Well,
exactly. We can change that. Karen saw it. By the way, this is AI, so it literally just you just keep going. Can you make the sun a little smaller? Hey, can you make the people look a little more realistic? And it just, a minute later, it comes back and it's like, here you go. So anyway,
I can also have my logo guys do it.
Well, and we might need to do that, Patty, because John sent me a PDF so I could fiddle around with the awards. And what came back when I put it in there is that they warned that it would be it could be fuzzy or pixelated. So we need to make sure that what we get is a good printable product. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Has to be high quality. But so just to give you an idea, the thought right now. And one other thing, if you remember last year, there was some trouble. Well, one, identifying the winners of races by age category, because sometimes a 15-year-old looks like a 12-year-old, and sometimes a 12-year-old looks like a 16-year-old, But that said, we ran out of bibs. We use these, we use these bibs that are self-adhesive, and we essentially had them printed like this. And so we wouldn't put the year in it, but they only go to 500. So the thought was, let's get 2 colors, and then we can give the females, people can choose what color they want, but the females, if we had them be one color and the males be the other, that would help, because there was also, I think, a problem identifying a winner of one of the categories too. So, but we could get 2 sets of 500, and then whatever's left over we can use next year, because there won't be a year on it.
So can we actually do more? Karen, can we do more than 2 colors? Because I was thinking we should just do a different color for every category that we have for the final. Meaning, if there's a 12 and under versus a teen versus an adult, well, those are 3 different colors. And if it's men versus women, well, okay, so you have 6 different colors. It seems like that would be a really easy way for the people at the finish line to identify.
We can. It'll
But
be it'll be slightly more expensive, so let me price it out.
yeah,
It'll just be slightly because what will happen is instead of ordering the maximum quantity of 500, which you get a lower cost per
sure,
bib,
yeah,
we wouldn't
yep,
want to
yep,
order 500 of each color.
right,
So,
Well,
right,
um,
that's also going to increase time at the registration table. So a family of 5 comes up, registers, and you have to give them 4 different colors.
I understand, but they can just we just go, here are the bibs. We kind of have them on the table, and you say, take a bib. And you have maybe a little thing that says what each of the colors are, in a little kind of card that says, if there's green on the left, you say that's, kind of adult men, and yellow is adult women,
well,
and
well,
they pick
what,
them out themselves.
but what we also could do, because we're not putting the year, can you see my cursor right here?
Yeah,
We could put the categories. So it could be 12U boys, 12U
oh,
girls.
that'd be great. That'd be
So
Oh,
great.
it's
that's a good
labeled,
idea.
it's
That's a
labeled
great
there. So
idea.
let me go back and price it out because it will be more expensive to do that. But my
Hmm.
feeling is if we can stay at and spend about the same amount of money, we should be good. So, and we're not going to do the ice cream, but some of the other stuff might
Yeah,
be more. But okay. So
but
I'm
this,
going
I
to
mean, the
look at
bibs
that.
generally aren't that much, right? I mean, we're still talking adding tens of dollars, not even hundreds of dollars, right? For different colors.
Well, hang on. I priced out 1,000, and it's
Hmm.
that's 2 sets of 500. It was 490, and that would be
Wow,
well, it's because they're self-adhesive,
I
right?
see. So they are 50
Um,
cents each. Wow, that's a lot. Yeah, because
okay,
I
but
thought they were more like, kind of a few cents each. But
no,
okay, okay,
no, even the other bibs aren't a few
yeah, okay,
cents each. Yeah.
okay.
Okay. So that's that. And then I've ordered a sample of this, but we looked at this bag in wait, green, in a
Mhm.
forest green, with the logo. And again, we wouldn't have the year so that these could be used. And quite honestly, if they say Portola Valley, and maybe it says, established 1964 or 94028 or something like that, we think that these could be used more. We could be wrong, but and this is just when I get the sample, I'll show both of you, and we can decide if we want to order that. And they can print it in full color. I checked on that. I've talked to the rep, so that's what we were thinking of in terms of something that's practical and they would keep, and it seems to be, you know, worth it for their race thing. And then on the awards, uh, these are the kinds of plaques we gave last year for uh, the winners. We had 10 total plaques. We didn't give, we gave adults 12U and 13 to 18 for running in both men and women. And then for cycling, we only did those two youth categories, but we did boys and girls. So I don't know if we want to change that, but we're not doing an adult cycle winner. We
No, certainly
decided
not.
that was,
No,
yeah,
they're not even. They shouldn't even be racing
right.
if you think about it that way.
Well, in some ways, should the 12 to 18-year-olds be racing bikes
Yeah,
or should they
yeah.
be running?
I mean, not.
You know? Okay. So that's one idea. And then the other, oh, okay. Let me go to an email. Uh, well, we were looking at a medal like this, and we can put the logo in the inside, and then on the back, you have the Zots to Tots 2026 sort of thing. And then, bear with me, they're up here. No, I can't. I have to move some stuff around in order to get to this. Uh, Oh, well, wait. Is that here? This is one of them. Whoops. Why isn't that? Okay, John, I'm going to go to the email I sent you. I think that's the way I'm going to have to do it. Don't look at all my emails.
Actually, while
Oh,
you're looking, just
And
to
you
distract
have,
people, um, on the bags, I was thinking that we hand them out at the finish line, not at the start. We used to always hand out the T-shirts and the hats, and I'm not sure where we handed out the bags last year, but I was thinking it should certainly be a lot easier for the runners if they get it at the finish line than figuring out what to do with it at the start line.
right.
so what's interesting about that is most people, I think they just put them in their car because they
Yeah,
parked
no,
at Zots. And if they get to
yeah,
the finish line, well, someone's going to be picking them up. But I only had one family that asked me to hold on to their
yeah,
bags because they must have walked down.
right.
So I don't,
Yeah, I have to think about that. Yeah, I know a
yeah.
lot of people do park there, but I thought a lot of people don't
Yeah,
too.
what I don't want is an option that they can do
Yeah,
it either at finish or at the starting line, because then we need a way to track who's getting them.
right, right,
The,
right.
the other thing I wonder, because it was such a problem with the popsicles, is if we'll create a log jam giving them out at the finish. Should be
Well, we could
easier than
have
the
a
pop.
booth. We could have a booth at the picnic.
But that's what I was thinking, or just much further down towards the picnic, some table, because that's where they all go, I assume. I mean, how many people don't go to the picnic? I don't know. I don't think anybody just turns around and starts walking back. Or it's always been
I
an
think they
issue.
at least walk down to the picnic.
Yeah,
I don't know if they stay, but I think they at least walk down.
right.
So I think we just say, if you tote, there's a table at the picnic.
Okay. I think we should think about that because I think if most people are driving to Zot, I think they walk back from the picnic. So then they would be walking back with the bag instead. But I don't, we should, oops, sorry about that. We should check
Yeah. The other
Hi,
thing we
on
Steve.
can,
that.
yeah.
Hi, Steve. Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, how'd
This
it
pipe
go?
in if you've got any opinions. We're just jabbing here.
Okay, for sure.
Uh,
We lost.
oh,
Yeah,
shoot.
Oh,
it was not
no.
very it was not very close. This team from San Ramon Valley is really good. We lost to them on this past Saturday. But yeah, they played a great season.
Oh, that's a
I'm
bummer.
sorry to hear.
So you're the
Oh.
Argentina of Little League, huh?
Yeah, close. Soon to be.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. Okay.
A quick note on the bags. I
Yeah.
think as someone who has like 1,000 of these now, I think having people go down to a table at the picnic to show that they actually want the bag has a big plus. Otherwise, so many of these things you hand it like, oh, I get a bag, and it goes in the car, and I'll never see it again. So I'm okay with having people kind of want them, and walking down to the picnic is not a big deal. So
Yeah.
That'd be my thought.
Can somebody, whoever's at the table, can they just have a marker and you just kind of put a little mark on their bib, say they got a bag?
Yeah, I was just thinking that and there's going to be people at the picnic that want them.
Right.
I mean,
Especially if they're
Dave,
just generic Portola Valley bags.
exactly, because that's all
Yeah.
they're just, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So
We
the
need
other
to
thing
think
that happened last year because we didn't have enough bags for all, we had, I don't remember the quantity. I think I'd ordered 450 and we had 550 runners. So we were asking people, do you want the bag? And like a number of adults said, I don't want it, but my kids really want it, so but I don't know how you keep people from not wanting them at the picnic that come there that didn't do the run.
Okay, well, we don't need to make that decision right now, right? Okay.
Yeah, and also we want to check out and make sure this is something that people are going to actually like.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. So back to these. These are some options. This is the plaque that we used last year, and obviously it gets personalized with the event name and not the actual winner's name, but it will say the category of the race, and you can put a biker and a runner on it. The other option is to do trophies. These are like 12-inch trophies. And interestingly, you can get the biker in men and women, but the runner only is generic, which is, to me, those are very different, but that's the way they come. And we could put 2026 here, and then we can put up to 40 letters here. Or we could have this say first, and then we can put Zots to Tots 2026 here. So I don't know how people feel about these at all.
What did the ones from last year look like? Similar?
They look like this. But those cyclists, so it says Zots to Tots 2025. And I can't, and large lettering, and then it says like 12U boys champion and 12U girls champion. So there were and so there's a
so I know I'm the only one that thinks this way, but I think this is a waste of money. We should give them a paper certificate. I have a whole box of these that Ty got growing up, and they're going to go in the trash someday. I mean, but that's just my opinion. I know people voted me out, so I'm just stating it. Go ahead.
I think that for the younger divisions, the plaques are typically associated with second and third place, and the actual trophy design is usually what, I don't want to say the expectation is, but what happens when kids win the first place prizes. So for the first ones, I would be supportive of, either they're both great, but I would vote for the actual trophy.
Yeah, okay. I agree. For a race, generally you think of trophies.
Okay.
So plaques are like academic achievement. Not to say it wasn't good last year. It's nice to change it up, but
okay.
Offhand.
I am worried about, because I'm ordering these online. I need to do a little more research because I'm worried they're going to be like, to me, this is much.
Karen, I can figure out who Alpine Little League gets their trophies and plaques from. They're super reliable. I'm not familiar with the cost, but it might be easy to deal with somebody that we've got the existing relationship with, and maybe cheaper. I don't know.
Okay. I mean, because the issue here is it's all about costs, as you know, with the town thing. And in some ways, I'm not sure. Yeah. So, and I can't get one of these as a sample, I have to order it, and which we could do. So that's also, but I'll see if I can get more information. And Steve, if you want to forward on, and we have the company that John used before as well.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same one the Little League uses. Yeah, it's great. Yeah. It's called Crefield's. It's in Redwood City. Anyway, we were using it for all the adult leagues and the and Zots for like 20, 25 years, frankly.
Okay.
And it was just last year was the first time we didn't do that. But they are. I'm guessing they're significantly more expensive than this. I'm just, how much are these, Karen?
These were they're like $11.20. They're on sale right now, and that's without tax and shipping. But
right,
versus like
you're not going to get a trophy for $11.
No,
at
a rewards store.
So but we'll check into it a little bit more. Yeah. But what I'm hearing is trophies are better, particularly for the kids, right?
I think so. Is the engraving included in the $11?
Correct.
Cool.
But the engraving is, 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 the type, it's like black type on the plaque. Does that make sense? It's not truly engraved, etched
Yeah.
into it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, and then let's find the other one. Just to kind of show you, and these would be the medals that would go to every kid that participates. And these are kind of a design. We can put the logo inside the medal, and then on the back, there'll be a decal that says Zots to Tots 2026. And again, these go just to the kids. But by having it not have Zots to Tots on the front, we can use these and not have the year. We can use these in the future. We can use them for game nights and things like that for the winners. So that's sort of what we're looking at right now. We just need to figure out the quantity that we want to order. And then I want to price everything out and try to come up the same amount we spent last year, or ideally even less, is the goal. So I think that's it.
So I'm confused. Do you want my logo guys to do a logo or not?
Does that cost money, or how much does it cost?
I pay an annual fee, and I use it for a lot of my organizations. So I don't charge us anything.
Okay.
I think that if you can give them the design that John's made, and then have them refine it. We actually wanted to put a little mountain lion up on the hill. And the horse rider needs to be, we thought it'd be great to include a horseback rider. But things need to be, as I said, refined. And then it needs to be of a quality that we can print with it.
Yeah, they do that. So somebody send it to me, and I'll.
Yeah. And by the way, if you've got some other thing, literally it was plugging into AI, like, create a Zots or a Portola Valley logo, make it look natural or whatever, have a whole bunch of people.
We've still got one.
And that's what it was. That was it.
I know.
A minute
we
later.
Still got one from last year that we haven't used. So I can show them the one they did last year, show them the one we got in reserve, show them yours, and just say, hey, this is kind of the style we're going for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny, Dave, I think Dave has pulled up, and I did this on Google. I pulled up, let me see if I can find it. Right, Dave? You put something up there that says,
did David already do
Zots
it on
to Dots
AI?
Yeah, and I'm gonna try to pull up what's it called? I'll show you what I did.
David, that would be too expensive to print. Too many colors.
Yeah, I'm not saying we should use it. This is just what I was doing while I was listening to the conversation. So
yeah,
I'm sure
I'm not saying
we can
I
do
don't
lots.
like it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that would be expensive. But.
So we want a 2-color version.
Well, wait, I'm going to show you something funny. Hang on, I'm going to save. Hang on, I'm going to share my screen. Whoops, I can't share my screen until. Dave, can you go off?
I'm not sharing a screen or anything. That's my avatar.
Okay. Okay, so hang on a second. Let me share my
you have
screen.
A new avatar?
Because I did the whoops, did that not work? Share. Oops. Okay, now it's making me share again. Okay. When I plugged this into Google AI and then I asked for something black and white, I mean, they gave me a color one too. I got this, which I didn't think was half bad. So there you go.
What about all the kids in strollers?
There you go.
Well,
this
I just said, we could add it, and we could add.
Probably got more
strollers
than we've got horses.
and
that's
kids
for
on
sure.
trikes. Yeah. But anyway,
Anyway,
it's all there.
all right.
So,
Okay.
okay. So I think, John, is there anything else that we've missed? That's sort of where we're at, but we've got to price it out, and then we've got to figure out the registration. And if we want to order this stuff or we want the town to order it, some of those logistics need to get worked out.
Right.
Okay, good job.
Okay.
All right.
Still got a bit of work to do, but it's not till the end of September, or the middle of September.
That'll
Yeah.
come quickly. That's only like 2
It'll
months,
go
right?
quickly.
August, September. Yeah.
We might want
So-
to meet. Let me know if you want to meet like before our August meeting.
I'll have to do that via Zoom because I'll be back east again.
Okay, sorry about
But
that.
that's fine. I will have plenty of time.
Okay, well,
So
maybe there too. I have no idea. Okay. Okay, on the picnic, I have some things I've got to do with insurance and food permits, but I won't bore you about that. But I've got the table rentals reserved. I've got the pony rides, petting zoo reserved. I did reserve inflatables, but those can be changed. So, and I did reserve the premium dunk tank this year. So, just for you, Karen, I bit the bullet and I took one inflatable out and I got us the premium dunk. So I think we should be good. So,
my son was asking if the dunk tank was going to happen again this year. So hopefully I will get them
yes,
working it.
It will. Got the face painters. So I've got kind of all of the things reserved. I've got stuff I've got to do. The big thing that I don't have yet is the band. I know the band last year, I got really mixed reviews on it. Some people really, really liked it. Most people thought it was good, but really loud. So I'm going to reach out maybe to John Badger, and I usually ask for his recommendations out of the ones that he books for Palooza and some of the other nights, and see if I can get a recommendation for a band. I also like to see if I can get somebody local and that's free, so I don't have to spend money on it.
So I really like the band. I think the complaint was that it was really loud. So I don't know if there's a way that they could make it less loud. Isn't that about the sound system? Not so much the.
It was definitely about the sound system. I'd have to talk to him about it. Yeah, I like their music. I thought it was really fun, and there was a lot of people dancing, but it was loud.
Yeah,
So,
and I know Todd Johnson and Bundy. What are they called?
Salty Licks.
Salty Licks. They'd be willing to do it, but there'd probably be a nominal fee. So they're a little mellower than that. The Ray Rothrock's band is a dance band. So anyway.
So I really haven't changed too much about the picnic. I know we talked about maybe doing a makeover, adding some games. I think we still have time to do that if we want. If we talked about some of the games, we could get cornhole from the inflatable people. If we want to do something like cornhole, if we wanted to do an egg thing, I mean, those are things that we could pull together pretty fast without a lot of equipment that we would have to, reserve and take care of. So I just wanted to kind of get some of the big stuff at least reserved. Again, we can always change our mind. But if you wanted to talk about other options or ideas about the picnic, I'm very open.
So did we we're not allowed to do the water balloon toss, right?
Well, the town has been against balloons. Now that was
Okay.
Jeremy, and I don't know. That's something I can ask Darcy if they'd be open to it.
I was involved with the last town escalation because of Ormondale's last day of school, and they had a bunch of water balloons, and it was a total mess. Everyone left, and then people left not knowing how much litter was left in the grass blades, and
Okay.
got it escalated, and we had to have a bunch of parents go back, pick them up, and it took like an hour and a half. So I would say, based on that, and it was Jeremy as well, I would say it's probably not worth it.
Okay.
I mean,
How
I can't
about-
even. I wanted to get one of those guys that makes balloon animals.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't even let me do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They used to do that at the on the summer concert nights.
Well,
But-
they did it without Jeremy.
Yeah.
Well, another idea, but it takes volunteers. The issue is I think some of this is that we could also just do a basketball shooting contest because we can use the courts, and that we could have, and there could be goofy little prizes for that. But, there could be they do the layup, they have to do the free throw, they do the 3-point shot, and then they go half court if they make it the whole way. Something like that could be really fun for the younger kids, the teens
Oh,
and
the,
younger kids.
The inflatable place does have, I don't know if it's new this year, I've never seen it. It's 3 carnival games, and it's like a bottle toss and the old carnival games.
Like like the rings on the bottle.
Yeah.
Or knock the bottles down, or
Yeah.
yeah.
They have that available as something you can rent. Now the issue there is you'd probably need to get volunteers to man it, although you can pay for people, but we have a hard time getting volunteers. So
we for the annual hit-a-thon, the fundraiser that we had in March, we always hire it's probably the same company that has the bounce house and the carnival games. The carnival games are usually a big hit for kids like 3 to 4 and under. The older, like 7 to 8, 10-year-olds, I just haven't really seen gravitate towards them or be super engaged with them if it's the same company.
okay.
Does Cub Scouts still do their little games?
Yeah, they do.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
Okay,
they
so
do.
those are for the little kids. Okay.
Yeah, the Cub Scouts are there,
Okay.
and the Boy Scouts are going to do the hamburgers. So it's going to look a lot like the same unless we think of something different.
Okay. Well, think about that, because the courts aren't being used because we don't let people on the courts, right?
Right.
So maybe there's a way to do something on the courts. But again, it would have to be that we need volunteers. And I guess, Patty, to that end, do we know if Priory is willing to lend student volunteers?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Patrick, just all I got to do is send him the sign-up sheet.
Okay.
Usually we need to go those kids at the finish line though, because the finish line just really needs a lot of people. So, okay, anything else on the picnic and the Zots to Tots?
Nope.
David, you're still working on your avatar there. I like that one. That one's nice.
Yeah, I think with some serious work, it could be anything, right? I'm just doodling on this while we're meeting. So
You're misspelling.
You know what I really like about that one is it's 2-color.
yes, I asked for 2-color because I heard that people were concerned about printing costs.
Oh, you don't
So
have
I
the
just said-
bicycle guy on there though.
I could.
The mountain lion on the hill in the background.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right.
Tots says TOTS, doesn't have 2.
Come on.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. My bad.
All right. Put you to work, David. Come on.
Yeah.
All right.
We're happy to have the volunteers.
We love it,
So-
David. We love it. Okay. Oh, all right. Anything else on Zots? Oh, we did get a request from Cindy. They have somebody that's requested a Saturday in September for 2027.
Yeah.
And she's asked us if we can determine our date for 2027 so that she can see if she can reserve this other event.
Wow. What's this event? Do you have any idea what the event is? That they're
No, but the date that she said, let me go. It's at the end of September. I'm using my phone now. It was for September 20, which is the Saturday, 25th. It was the weekend of the 25th, 26th. And I was wondering if we could tell her to reserve the 2 Saturdays before that. Because you would think that one of those, I think we want to have it earlier than later in September.
also, let me tell you how it works for the softball,
Okay.
because it's well defined, and I think we're going to be kind of in a similar range. By the way, we're always going to probably end up with this thing where we're going to have the outfield fence up during the picnic, but Labor Day is Monday, September 6th, right? And therefore, we have our playoffs the following week. And we end on September 19th with the championship game. So it's going to always be that. It's always going to be, because Labor Day is always the first Monday in September, the championship game is always going to be the third Sunday of September. Now, I actually think that despite the conflict with softball, we probably always want that third Saturday in September. It's certainly that. It's either the 18th or the 25th, and that's about our only choices, right? I mean, because the 11th is it's the week of Labor Day. Maybe that's okay too, maybe, but that's what's defining it for softball. Let me put it that way.
Well, for families, though, they're all back in school.
Yep, they are. So 11th could work, but it's not the 4th. You know that, right? Because the
Correct.
6th is Labor Day, right?
Right.
So
right.
It starts at the 11th is your first choice, and the 25th is your last. So, we should to decide. And again, just know that the softball championship game is on the 19th. And the only issue with that is that the softball fence stays up.
So is the 2027 date that she's proposing, would that interfere with the softball championship?
Well, she said a Saturday, right?
No. So she's the 25th. I'm going to go back and look at her email, but the 25th is the 4th Saturday of the month in 2027. But I'm going to just double check her email. Hang on a second.
It's the 4th Saturday, but it's the third available Saturday because the 4th isn't available to anybody really. It's a 3-day
right. Weekend. Okay. So Cindy said, Saturday, September 25th is that she's received a request for a private event or some event.
So are you saying that the softball fence would still be up on that date?
On the 18th, it would be.
No, on the 25th.
The 25th, it will not be.
In 2027.
Correct.
Okay.
The other thing we always talk about, but I'll look and see, but it's probably way too early, is the Stanford football schedule, right? I don't know how much of a factor that is for people. I don't know.
It's less and less because the football team is getting a lot of. They're not playing midday anymore because they're so bad. They're usually getting much later games. I wonder if I can check the. No, they won't have it up.
They don't do the schedule that far ahead. Okay, so I think we can tell Cindy to release the 25th but hold the 2 Saturdays before that for us. Does that sound all right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I can tell you that in 2027, Vanderbilt will be playing at Stanford on Saturday, September 11th. They only have 2 games. Well, where I went, they've got the
Yeah, only
11th
two
and the
posted.
27th. They've only got 2 posted so far. Yeah.
So we may have it on the 18th then,
Yeah.
but we could probably reserve the 11th just in case.
Okay. So
Probably
I'll get, yeah, I'll
might
get
be.
back to, yeah,
Okay. All right.
I'll get back to Cindy on the,
Okay.
I mean, we could ask for the 25th. We could, because we get priority, but it seems later in the month. I don't know, but if people feel that the 25th is fine. What are your thoughts?
I actually would prefer the 25th over the 11th because the 11th, you still might get people that are out the week of Labor Day.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So if it was up to me, I'd reserve the 18th and the 25th.
Okay, I'll do that. And we'll see if we get any pushback.
I think we should do it. We get priority.
Right.
Do you want to just say it should be the 18th now? I mean, besides the softball fence issue.
Well, we're always
again,
going to deal with softball fence, but
right. I'm just wondering if we can't just nail it. It's fine. I guess it can't hurt to hold both dates if they're willing to do that.
Which dates are we I know we're talking about the 18th for sure, but now I'm not sure if we're talking about the 11th or the 25th as the second date.
Don was just saying,
What?
decide on the 18th. Let him have the 25th.
Okay.
It's just a thought. It's just if
Okay.
we could just
so
pick it.
We'll hold 9/11 and 9/18 just in case.
Okay.
There's something weird on 9/18.
Yeah, we
9/11 isn't a great date, but okay.
All right. Okay. Let's keep moving here. So we skipped over the master fee schedule status and next steps. Most of you probably know that we did have some further discussions after our meeting last month with Darcy and Tony and Cindy on the master fee schedule. They did make some changes, but for the most part, they dug in their heels. They presented it to the town council. Town council made 2 changes, I think. They raised the cleaning fee. For some reason, that was the most important thing in the universe. And they also lowered the league fees for pickleball. But they kept everything else pretty much the same.
Well, wait, they raised the user fees. The 67 went to 75. So that's for the clubs and the adult leagues. Is that right, John?
Yeah, they did.
Sorry, I was just talking over the proposal that they had previously made. So yes.
Yeah.
Overall, they raised fees. Yes.
Yes.
But they lowered. Their original proposal didn't distinguish between clubs and leagues, and in their final proposal, they did distinguish between it, and the rate for the leagues went up from 40. Oh, I don't have this in front of me, but it was like 40. What do you pay right now, Steve? $44 a
42,
player?
44, yeah.
and it went up to 40.
7, I think. 47.
That sounds right. So it did get raised, but they didn't at least bring them all up to the same level, because their original proposal is they were all going to go up to 75, or
I know.
Yeah, that's what I was
it
going to
was
say. The
high.
original
I
proposal
mean,
was almost double per player for Little League.
yeah, it was
So,
82. That's
yeah.
right. I think
Yeah,
it was
no,
82 a player. So it's
I
now
was
at
just,
47.
yeah, I was just
And-
talking from, they had a lot of different fee schedules, which was very confusing. They had the one that was in the town council agenda, and then they presented a different one at the meeting, and then they presented an even different one when Karen and I met with them. So it's very confusing. Anyway, the town council did ask them to continue to work with Parks and Rec to refine, I'm not sure the words they used, to refine the proposal, because I don't think the town council was as comfortable with the solution that they came up with, because Parks and Rec had a lot of issues with the way that they were calculating some of the fees. So they asked for a mid-year review. So I guess the question is, how do we want to move forward on that? And maybe we don't want to do anything until after the picnic, because that's the next big thing that we got to worry about. And when they say mid-year, I think they're talking like January, assuming we can get on the agenda. So I just want to make the committee aware that we're kind of still in the hunt. And if we want to really push some of our agenda, we've got an opportunity. So I don't know, Karen, if I missed anything that you want to.
No, I actually was not. That was when I was back. I was not at that meeting. I mean, I saw the
Right.
agenda and I saw the review. And I didn't, my concern is our bandwidth right now. And I think we should wait until after the picnic, to go back and look at it. And we have most of the basis. I mean, I've done that competitive review, but I think we need to really talk to the users as well and get better input, on that note, and then kind of present something. But I would say, can we wait till October before we focus
Steve,
on
John,
this?
thoughts?
Yeah, I'm good with that. I do know from Little League's perspective, the increase from 42 or 44 to 47, I think is well within what they felt reasonable was. So I think we're not going to get negative feedback from them.
Okay, good.
Okay. And Patty. Oh,
go ahead.
Go ahead, John.
No, go ahead. I think that the big issue was the process that they used, and that the fact that they were, a couple things, but one, that they were ready to take a vote, in that first meeting. Fortunately, they deferred for a massive increase without even knowing what they were looking at, frankly, knowing the current structure. But fortunately, we kind of got through that. I do think that, we had all talked that 10% or so can be annoying to some. It's not issue to others, but mostly it's, kind of going to be a non-issue. The big thing, by the way, there was another thing that was said that I'm just going to say, I don't want to go on a big rant, but just to summarize the many, many things that were being said that I thought was frustrating, was they said that they think they want to go with professional consultants' recommendations because they think people will trust them more than the Parks and Rec Committee recommendation. I just think there's so many problems with that statement, but that was what was said, and the mayor of our town agreed, right? So at that point, I was like, okay, I think I just got to step away from this. But anyway, so as to the big next step, I think, is just whether we want to direct them towards a per hour, we'll say, rather than per user.
Yeah.
Now that can, we'll have to see how that lands though, because, and I've always thought there are many problems with the current one, but the problem with that one will be it'll probably land in the form of the youth leagues paying a lot more and the adults less, which is probably opposite of what people think should be and the way it is now, because the hour is just that the youth leagues have way more hours than the adult leagues. Like in soccer, we use it for an hour, or maybe up to 3 hours a week. Well, the youth, they use it for, 15 or 20 hours a week on a field, right? So, unless you're just going to do the math where it effectively goes back to per user or something, where it's just still very disproportionate in terms of what the hourly rate is, that could be the outcome. So we'd have to really kind of make sure as we kind of do that analysis, that we look and say, okay, that's fine, but we got to make sure we end in a spot that we still think is reasonable or isn't too far off from the current total amount that they're paying.
Yeah, and
Right.
to John's point, when I looked at the neighboring communities, one of Palo Alto's goals was to encourage youth sports. So there's a highly discounted rate on that. They rent the field for $9 an hour compared to what they rent it for other things. So I think one of the things we might want to do is talk about, even before we decide, is what are our objectives and our goals in how we set the fees. Do we want to encourage youth sports? Because if we do, that's going to create a different fee schedule than if we don't care. If we just want to break even, that kind of thing. So
Yeah, I want to say I think that was one of the things that was lacking in the fee discussion that I think I tried to bring up, is that I think we have to decide what we want. Like, we want to be the same as Palo Alto or whatever. What are our priorities? And let's match the priorities, not just, oh, other towns are charging X and we should charge X. So, and I do think Parks and Rec are the people to lead that. So anything we can do to make that happen, I think, is positive. It's not a matter of what's fair. It's a matter of what do we want our town, what are our priorities as a town, and how do we want our fields used? That's my 2 cents.
Personally,
yeah.
I don't think we need to be a Brown Act committee to do that, but there are people in town who feel strongly about that. I might have to go down that battle at some point.
Well, we can certainly present our Parks and Rec perspective, and whether or not it's agreed on is different, but at least we can present it and why and make the argument for why we think whatever our proposed fees will be.
I agree.
Yeah.
Per Darcy, though, the only reason we're allowed to present it now is because the council has asked for it, not because it's allowed in our charter. Which, to John's point, is when people think of athletic fees in town, they should think of Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. Okay. I agree.
So
I think we should defer it.
Okay. I have one thought that I wanted to throw out there. Okay. So we know pickleball fees went down from $100 to $75 a user per season. And the reason for that is court maintenance is much lower than field maintenance. But here's my idea. Given that they were paying $100, could we ask if some of those people would be willing to donate that extra $25? No, to help subsidize the court resurfacing. And the argument that John made about clubs versus fees is that, not fees, leagues, is that the adult leagues in Portola Valley are all Portola Valley residents that are getting charged $75. And pickleball, yes, the maintenance costs are lower, but pickleball has non-residents in it. So I'm just throwing it out there that maybe some people would be willing to take that $25 they're saving and put a portion of it towards subsidizing court resurfacing. There we go.
But you
I-
can always ask. I agree. The problem is there's no way to reserve it. But that gets into that stupid accounting that we talked about. Anyway.
Okay.
I really like the idea of having a donation option on all of the sport sign up pages. Alpine Little League does the same. I have no idea what it yields per year, but you don't get what you don't ask for.
I like that too.
By the way, Little League donates a lot when it comes to the major things, the renovations.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. And all the field maintenance. And we pointed all that out about how much
Right.
the town is receiving from a number of the clubs and leagues, whether they're lining the soccer fields or they're doing the maintenance on the ball field or pickleballs, blowing the courts. I mean, if the town had to pay for it, it'd be substantially more. So,
Okay. All right.
Can I just do a real quick one, just to educate, because the difference in clubs and leagues, it's not so much resident versus non-resident. It's that with clubs, you play teams from other communities that come here. So while leagues, both of them are paying the user fees, right? So in a club, only one of the two teams on the field is paying the user fees. In a league, both of them are, right? Whether they're residents or non-residents. And so that's why the clubs pay more than the leagues. That's just officially what we kind of came up with. I just wanted to clarify that. And
okay.
That's good.
But for softball, for the PV softball and PV soccer, they're also Portola Valley connected, right?
They are, yeah. The softball is very, very strict about it in terms of you have to be a resident, you have to live or work in Portola Valley. There are people grandfathered in, and we can get into that. The soccer is a little less so. Again, everybody pays the user fees, right? But it's not 100% Portola Valley residents.
Okay. I'm moving us on.
Yep, go ahead.
Game night. Anything we need to talk about?
No. John and I are going to figure that out. I guess we could decide on a theme, but I can do that and send some stuff around to people because the game night, I believe, is November 14th. So it's right after elections. Anyway, we'll come up with some sort of theme for that.
The only thing I can think of right now, because I think there's only so much planning is needed, is whether we want to put a save the date out there or when we want to do that. Right. I find it's helpful just, kind of one pretty early, just they can just put it on their calendar and forget about it. And then maybe 2 months before, something like that. And then, of course, then it ramps up after that once you're within kind of a couple months, when you're within a month. But a save the date is always helpful, I find.
Karen,
do you think we should
do that, or I can do that?
Well, wait, I don't care. But do you think we should do it right now, John?
I don't know. It's a little early. We're talking November, right? I would say the minimum 2 months in advance.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
yeah.
So we can wait till September.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Never mind. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Sorry, Patty.
sorry.
One more thing on the game night. I believe last year it conflicted with the Ormondale school auction. Was that correct?
So we looked at that date, and you told us the auction happened.
Okay.
We did not do it, and there were also some problems with the room reservation process. I'm just going to put it that way.
Yeah. Well, there's not going to be an auction this year. It's every other year, so we won't have to worry about it.
Perfect.
No gala this year. What am I going to do with that dress I bought? Okay.
Actually, never mind. Not going to say it.
You're not allowed, Karen.
No.
Okay. Anything on the courts? Sydney's not here, so I don't know what's happening with the storage shed.
I could say a little bit about that for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Which is we haven't moved anybody around, but we did have the youth soccer go in and clean out their stuff, right? So I need to look again. I did notice that they did a whole bunch, um, and but so it may actually be done because there's no question that both AYSO and I guess it's Stanford Soccer now you call it is did send people in to clean out the locker.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. I was copied on a note to Cindy about getting access to the Little League shed. Was the overall ask for this group to maintain and clean the sheds, or for the leagues, like John's point? Because I
Yeah.
was
So
just confused.
I don't think there's anything that Little League needs to do. The because Little League's the only user of that shed that you're in.
Yeah,
It is frankly a bit junky,
yeah,
but so it'd be great for you, but that would be really for yourself. The
yeah, yeah,
issue for the pickleball is that they're in with three other groups,
got it. Okay,
two youth soccer groups and tennis. And
yeah,
so, but note, by the way, so people understand a little bit, is that locker they're in is much larger than the other two. So it goes kind of large, medium, small, and Little League is in the small one.
yeah,
I don't even know if there are any shelves in there. There's a whole bunch in the one that pickleball is in. And the middle one that's medium has got two leagues in it. It's got adult soccer and adult softball,
yeah,
right? And so between all the carts, it's much tidier because it's managed. The problem with the youth leagues have more trouble with just that kind of
yeah,
organizational stuff. The
yeah,
AY has been in there for 20 years and it's changed hands every couple of years, right? So it's just
yeah.
junk's gonna pile up, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything going on? No. Karen, can you give us a update on the proposal for potential replacement of existing portable restrooms and snack shack at Dorothy Ford Park and open space?
So I can't remember if in the last meeting the joint planning and ASCC meeting had happened or not. Did we talk about here? Let me look at
it had not happened yet.
Okay. So very briefly, I'm forgetting their name. The landscape architects were hired by Darcy, and they felt it was important to go.
Callan.
Yeah, Calla. Yeah, thank you. They felt that it was important to go back to the Planning Commission and ASCC and I'm exercising my opinion here, but there was really not a whole lot gained. They came out with the same direction that we got when we presented to them in November. And the one thing that did happen, but I think some people thought it had already happened, is the right field side is off the table. So and that's certainly due to ADA access and other reasons. So the two areas that they were told to look at are the same areas, the current, as close to the existing snack shack, maybe moving it back. And then if we have to meet if we have to build outside this 75-foot setback, where would that occur? That kind of thing. The other thing that they did is they had a cost proposal in there that was outrageous. And Parks and Rec, as a key stakeholder, had not been consulted. So we more or less had a letter in there and said that we would not support $1 million restroom or a $1.3 million restroom and snack shack, and that we wouldn't be able to raise the funds for that. And what ended up happening is Calla came back and said it could happen for less, and back to the original estimates that we had looked at earlier. So that kind of, I think we lost time, unfortunately, and I checked in with Darcy, and the two updates I got were that they're still in the process of doing the survey, meaning, actually measuring the setback, the creek setback and the road setbacks, and truly understanding where they could build. And the second thing is that we were told that a interim town, am I allowed to say this?
You just did, so go ahead.
That there's going to be a new project manager, an interim town engineer that's coming on, that's going to be helping with the project. And that's all I know on that note. And we're just going to have to see where it nets out. The only other thing that I have done is that I've noticed, and David Bailey had brought this up earlier, is that the town has some kind of rule called the 80% rule for setbacks. And I'm trying to figure out what it was. And there was a residential home recently that was being remodeled, and the setbacks were calculated at 80%. And it was because, and they had existing setbacks that were they didn't meet the setbacks of what's required on their property. And the only thing I can think of is that when they're going to revise it, they give people that are, within the setback, they give them some sort of liberty to just meet the 80% rule. And I've asked planning if that's something that could apply to Ford, but I have not received an answer. Because that would then at least bring it from 75 feet down to 80% of that 56, 63 feet or something like that. Anyway, that's all I have. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's about all they did. It was a very frustrating meeting. Okay. The only thing I think that's all on our agenda. The only other thing I wanted to mention is I know I sent out something to all of you about the Woodside Priory's potential Friday night game, and I got feedback from several of you that was not a town event, so therefore they didn't feel it was appropriate for Parks and Rec to weigh in on it, which is absolutely fine. That's why I asked for your feedback. That doesn't stop us from providing individual feedback, and if you're a follower of the PV Forum, it's getting a lot of traction on PV Forum right now, and bad. So it'll be an interesting planning commission meeting, especially given Dana's comments. But if you have a strong opinion, I encourage you to either express it or show up at the meeting.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, Dave. Yep.
Yeah, I was going to say, my thought on that is that if we want this to be a slippery slope, like should someone want to have a pickleball tournament in the evening with lights, this would be a time to kind of say, hey, maybe we should be less onerous about all this. Aside from the Priory itself, it's something to think about. Is that something Parks and Rec wants to think about doing in the future, whether it's a nighttime soccer game at Rosati's or the town center or pickleball tournaments? If that's in the vision of Parks and Rec, now would be a time to start to get your foot under the door. If it's not, then forget it. It doesn't matter. It'll do whatever it does. But it does kind of, I think, shape some of our future as to what do we want out of Parks and Rec, somewhere between Dark Skies and Friday Night Lights. So just something to think about.
A lighted dog park. That's what I want.
Well, you could see Little League games, big Little League games getting lit up. I mean,
John,
so there's.
Say something.
No, it's not. I will say that I am still kind of somewhat burned from a very, very time ago, before any of you were on Parks and Rec, where we got on the wrong side of the environmentalists in the town. Um, and I think they held it against us for 20 years. um, it has to do that, because it was at the time it was around artificial turf. Not that we were advocating for it, right? But we wanted to do an environmental study, so we had facts, and they got probably 200 people into the schoolhouse to. They brought their children out to tell them how much they loved playing on grass, and they got people coming out that said that they used to love how they slid through the mud on the soccer fields, because their coaches let them, and it was like it literally just hung. It was something that stuck for a very long time, and so I'm kind of reluctant to take them on again. Now that's a really old history.
Priory tried that with artificial turf, and it didn't fly. So.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you the quick story. My view of that is that they went through the whole process. They went through the plan. They got it all approved, and they did all this work. They spent tons of money, and it gets to the town council, and it gets voted down. They could have saved themselves years and tons and tons of money if they had just could have figured out that the town council was going to vote it down from the very beginning, right?
Yeah, you have a very strong conservation lobby in this town.
Yeah. So, again, I would just be cautious about, kind of we have to be really thoughtful about where we want to take that on and where we don't.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other comments? Okay. Anything else on the agenda that I might have missed or you want to talk about?
There's no status on the parking, right? Well, we know the Ford parking.
I actually thought about moving that to the other category because until they invite us to the table, there's nothing that we can add to that conversation.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I may consider just calling a picnic Zots to Tots meeting before the August meeting. But let's all communicate via email and see if that's necessary.
That sounds good. And if we do it, I think it would be good to see if we can get David in on it, because he was at the end of the race and had some strong comments about some of the chaos that happened. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Adjourn at 8:30.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
11:30 for John.